Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for your time this afternoon. We're just on time now, so we will get underway. Just like to welcome you to the Nutritional Growth Solutions Meet the Chair and CEO session. Everyone on this call has probably seen the quarterly report and market update that we've given this morning, and the slides that we're about to see are also on the ASX as well. This afternoon with us, we've got CEO Laurent Vendel and also Chairman Dave Fenlon. We'll go through a brief presentation shortly, and then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A up to our allotted time. Don't forget, there is a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen if you're on full screen. So by all means, type in your questions there, and we will endeavour to get through as many of them as quickly as we can. I'll now hand over to Laurent and Dave to take you through, and we'll get this conversation underway. Laurent.
Beautiful. Thank you, Tristan, and thank you for everyone joining us this afternoon or this morning or wherever you are in the world. And I'll kick off and just give a quick brief overview and then hand over to Laurent. So in summary, we're very pleased with our progress. Our key growth initiatives are building momentum. We've been focusing very clearly on our retail expansion strategy and in fact accelerating that due to the opportunities, particularly in the US, as many of you may have heard at this moment in time. So it is very much a growth agenda and a retail rollout agenda, and those are all on track. We are certainly pleased with the number of new distribution agreements and the new points of distribution retailers that we're progressing with. And importantly, we are very delighted to say that our pipeline for Q3 and Q4 is strong. In addition to that, our new product development and also our enhancement to packaging, which are very consumer-facing, continue to gather momentum. Obviously, one of the headlines is our performance in APAC, and as you can have seen from the deck, a very strong sales performance. And importantly, the product that is going through our APAC business, as you know, is now being manufactured through our New Zealand related facility. We've also added strength to the leadership team as a business that's in growth, and we're very pleased that we've added a new CFO as well as head of operations, as well as 2 strategic advisors to our business that we think add strength, not just only in operational execution, but also in strategic intent. And we're very pleased to see those people join our business, and Laurent will give you some more detail in a moment. So in summary, sales momentum is strong, it's continuing. We're confident that will continue in Q3 and Q4. And ultimately, the performance that Laurent will take you through today is on track with what we said we would do. So more than happy to take any questions at any time, but I'll hand over to Laurent, who will give you a more in-depth, detailed update of how we're progressing at NGS.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you everyone who's joining us today. So I will start with talking about the numbers, the revenue numbers. As many of you have seen, we have been able to grow our revenue quarter over quarter. So a 20% growth compared to Q1, which was also a growth compared to Q4 of 2021. These sales are coming from the US as well as from the growth that we've experienced in the Asia Pacific because of the finally having the New Zealand manufactured product that is now selling into our distributors in China as well as into Chemist Warehouse in China. Our inventory shortages are now fully resolved. So this quarter, for those of you who reviewed the 4C, you've seen that we've invested in inventory over the past quarter, which is to support the growth over the next couple of months, especially into retail. And speaking about retail, I think many of you have heard me before talking about our 3-pillar plan, which is products, geographies, and sales channels. But this quarter and the next one, we are really focusing on channels, which is specifically the retail channel into the US, which is growing exponentially. And this is what we are going to see in the next coming months. So first of all, we have seen growth on the what we call retail.com. So we've started selling on Kroger.com, Ralph's, Smith's, which are some major retailers in the US joining their e-commerce platforms. We have had agreements with pharmacy chains and other premium grocery chains. We have also seen on our website our subscription offering growing, so many more subscribers are joining us on our website. One major agreement that we've signed post-reporting period, but still worth mentioning, is our agreement with UNFI. UNFI is the United States' largest publicly traded wholesale distributor. They're supplying to over 30,000 stores around the US, and it's a very important stepping stone into getting into these retailers in the US. Being in UNFI is important because it shows credibility, and also it gives us the way to get into these stores in terms of transportation and logistics, and also the visibility into these stores around the US. All our 22 Healthy Hearts products, including our Kids Protein and Kids Protein Vegan products, will be available for distribution, or are already available for distribution through UNFI. We are also seeing some strong momentum in Asia, and this is again now that we have the manufacturing facility up and running in New Zealand. We have seen sales in the Asia Pacific region increase 958%, which is basically 10 times over what we've seen in Q1. We are seeing some growing demand for pediatric products in the region that are safe, healthy, and clinically proven. This is also we having the background of some of the US major companies stepping into some issues with safety. So we're really stepping into this gap, coming in with a product that is very safe, proven, and designed by pediatricians. Our key channels at the moment are Chemist Warehouse China, Tmall, JD, and also e-commerce platforms like Lazada and Shopee that service some of Southeast Asian geographies. We do have sufficient manufacturing availability in New Zealand to ramp up stock levels and to meet the growing demand. One other thing that we've seen this quarter is we have been able to strengthen our executive team for growth. We appointed Peter Osborne, who is very renowned veteran in the industry, as a strategic advisor for the Southeast Asia. Peter has been appointed as our strategic advisor for China and Southeast Asia. He was previously managing director Asia for Blackmores, and he served as the Australian Senior Trade Commissioner in Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. I told you about everything that has happened over the past quarter, which you've seen, and I'm really excited about, but I think what I'm mostly excited about is what's going to happen in the next few months. And what we are seeing is that our existing agreements with major retailers will provide Healthy Hearts with strong footprint to build brand presence and grow sales in the US. We are continuing our rollout in the retail expansion in North America with additional sales agreements. Our Southeast Asia is positioned for continued growth with fully operational manufacturing facility in New Zealand, distribution partners in the region, and growing demand. And we will continue to enter new markets and expand product range in the coming few months. So this is all for me for today, short and sweet, but we are very happy to take any questions.
So Laurent, we do have a question in the Q&A from Adam. Can you see that?
And while we get to that one, Dave, yeah, we've got a couple of other questions that have come in through email as well. So I'll try and group a few of them together. The first one is, can you give us an idea of what the retail rollout looks like for NGS, and how does the company plan to increase its brand awareness with a relatively limited marketing budget, especially for the US?
It's a really good question. So originally our plan was to be in 250 stores in the US by the end of this year. However, given that we are seeing a lot of demand, more than we have expected, now our plan is actually to be in over 400 stores by the end of this year. So this is an ambitious plan, but we are planning to fill it. Now, in terms of, I see some questions around repeat buys and how successful it is. We're just now starting, so we don't really have this data yet. We do have this data when it comes to our e-commerce, but we are now starting in retail, and I will be more than happy to provide that information as we start really seeing sales and retail in the US.
I think, Laurent, it's also worth mentioning in some of the other geographies, B2B, we are seeing in Q3 and Q4 some repeat orders, so I think it's worth mentioning that.
Yeah, so we just actually received another order from Italy, which is a replenishment PO. They just placed a really big one earlier last year. Now they made a replenishment PO to continue and sell these products. We are seeing very nice success in this region with product selling mostly through pediatricians.
I've got another one that actually goes further to your point that you just raised there, Dave. What level of sales do you envisage needing to get to break even?
Again, I think that what we're seeing is that for break even, we would need to see around $9 million in sales with the current expense rate. Mm-hmm.
One on the clinical studies that we've got an excellent history going back more than 20 years with the hospital. How's the latest ADHD clinical study coming along?
Yeah, so I think it's worth mentioning, we do have a few clinical studies that are currently running. One of these is the clinical study that we are running with children who are treated for ADHD with stimulants, which affect their growth. And we're testing to see the effect of healthy heights on these children to see if we can actually help them fill in these gaps and grow more rapidly during this period of time. This is still ongoing. We haven't finalized this clinical study. With these kind of clinical studies, we are only able to analyze the results when the clinical study is over. In addition to that one, we are also running additional clinical studies for children who are treated with growth hormone to see the synergetic effect between growth hormone and healthy heights, because what we're seeing is for children who are treated with hormones after 1 year of treatment, usually they don't continue to grow as quickly. So we're giving them healthy heights during this time to see if we can help them increase their growth even more in addition to the growth hormone. One other thing that is worth mentioning in this regard is our sports study that finally we are now restarting it. We started it before COVID and then training was stopped, but now we are restarting it. And this is one that I'm particularly excited about. This is with our new sports formula. I keep telling everyone that my son plays soccer and he keeps asking me about this product. He and his friends are really looking forward to it. So I can't wait to have that and obviously to see the effect that it has on their performance.
Got a couple of questions here about China and Asia, noting the rollout that's been ongoing for several months now. Can you give an overview of progress to date and what your expectations are for future sales in that region? And another question, will China be as big or bigger than the rollout that's starting to occur in the US?
So it will. Just a question of when, because US is now. US is really happening now. We are seeing this explosion happening now with retail rollout in the US. China, it's such a massive opportunity for us. I mean, the demand is very clear and loud, and we're seeing it. It's about execution, and it's about doing it right, and it's about making sure that we keep our margins in this region, which is challenging, but we're not going to compromise that. We want to make sure that when we succeed in China, we also succeed while remaining our margins in this region. So yes, this is a huge opportunity for us. We are now finally We have the infrastructure of the production in New Zealand. We have some amazing team members who are working with us, including Peter Osborne, who just mentioned, who's working with us to generate a really great plan on how to make China bigger than the US.
And sorry, there's one here around the ramifications you have seen as a result of the infant formula shortage in the US. It's been very topical, but what is your team seeing on the ground there?
So this is exactly why we are upping our projections from 250 stores to 400 stores by end of this year, because we're seeing such huge demand for this category by retail buyers in the US. Basically what they're seeing is they have just empty shelves, and we're seeing leakage from the infant formula shortage also to toddler beverages, which is what we are offering, especially with our new kids protein variety, which is a toddler drink for children 2 years old and up. So to answer your question, we are seeing a lot of interest coming from retail buyers in the US, also because of the infant formula shortage.
What one here on production capacity, if you take into account US and New Zealand, what can we expand to?
Our production capacity at the moment is quite large, because we are operating in the US with a very large manufacturer that we've been working with since 2018, so have a great relationship with. We've worked with Fonterra from New Zealand to secure whey protein, which is our key ingredient, and so that we will not encounter any shortages with whey protein and milk powder. In addition to that, in New Zealand, our operating facility is also very large, and we've worked with them to make sure that we have enough capacity to handle the growth that we're projecting.
Moving locally, are products available in Australia yet? And I might add a little, if not, do we have an idea of when it might occur?
Not yet, working on it.
I thought I'd try.
Excellent.
Numbers. Are you comfortable with your current balance sheet, and are you comfortable with its ability to fund this growth that you've outlined this afternoon?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the investment that we've made up until now was around inventory, just to make sure that we have enough to support the upcoming retail partners that we are looking to onboard, both in the US and also in other regions. So this has been the investment up until now. The investment in the next couple of quarters is going to be mostly around marketing. Dave, do you have anything that you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, look, I think you'll see in the quarter that we've just finished, we've increased our inventory levels. I think that was a necessity to be able to fulfill the potential demand that's coming. And obviously we do look forward and look at those trajectories. If our volumes increase as we expect them to, then I think we need to be realistic that we may endeavour to undertake another capital raising, not from a cost to serve or a cost to operate model, but from a scenario where we may need some working capital to help us fulfill and fund those first and then second and third initial orders, because as you know, in retail land, they do like extended trading terms. So we're pleased with where we're at the moment, and if growth continues, it'll be a positive request to fund and help us grow our business quicker and faster.
Got a couple of questions around Southeast Asia with our recent appointment of a strategic advisor that you've mentioned earlier. What will that role look to achieve in the medium term?
I'm sorry, I have construction going on in the apartment next to me. But can you please repeat the question?
With our new strategic advisor in Southeast Asia, what's the role going to be looking to achieve in the medium term?
I would say in the short term, it will be growing our existing e-commerce business. And in the medium term, it's going to be also working more with healthcare providers in China to get more brand visibility as well as consumers' trust.
I think if I could add to that, it's also about Peter's opportunity to introduce us to other potential distribution partners throughout Asia, of which we've had some very early but pleasing conversations to date.
Yeah, and still on Southeast Asia as well, in terms of markets that you're looking closely at as possible expansion in the near term.
So, sorry for that. I think that the major markets for us, other than China and Southeast Asia, are going to be South Korea, as well as other markets like Vietnam, the Philippines. But Southeast Asia is definitely going to be a focus for us in the next few months.
We'll let you know if it breaks through the wall behind you, Laurent, but we'll keep soldiering on. And perhaps one for you, Dave, while Laurent's got the construction there. Timeline targets towards break even.
So I think we can clearly show you that we're pleased with Q2 progress, latest quarter progress. We're very pleased with the points of distribution and announcement around UNFI. We'll have some more news around other points of distribution, probably sooner rather than later. And we do anticipate, as Laurent said, that break-even point at 9 million. You can see our current run rates in the deck that's come out. We should be able to achieve break-even within the next 12 months, if not before.
And Laurent, we've got a couple around marketing-based questions. First one, what are you doing around subscriber and loyalty programs, and how might they be different in different markets?
So subscription is really key for us in the US, and this is one of the biggest things that we are doing in terms of marketing in the US, because we're seeing that subscribers, obviously they have a much longer lifetime value in terms of customers, but also, again, just looking at our customers, our products are working when children are drinking it regularly. So it makes so much sense to just subscribe and make sure that kids are getting it on a daily basis. So this is one of the key things that we're doing. We are making sure that subscribers are getting some great benefits from us in terms of obviously advice, but also reductions and great pricing as opposed to others. And we are continuing to see our subscribers numbers growing.
David, one for you. Having been in the chair for several months now, how have your perceptions of the company changed from when you first came on board?
I think I also took a trip up to Tel Aviv and had the opportunity to meet the doctors and have a tour of the Schneider Institute. And I think what I was clear about was that is a deeper relationship than I'd even anticipated. The commitment from the doctors to be really focused on solving what is this significant issue that many children are facing is really heartfelt and is passion. And they demonstrate that on a daily basis. So I was very pleased to see that ultimately the desire is really focused from a health perspective and not just trying to find a consumer need for financial gain. So that was really pleasing. Now that we've added weight to the team, I think the appointments that Laurent has made, particularly in operations and at the CFO level, give me more comfort that we have a depth of talent across the organisation that can help us grow. And the other one, spending time with the US team, in particular, Steve, who is the leader of that business, and hearing his history and his experience and the fact that he's already done this with another brand in the US, but actually having the opportunity to meet him and talk that through live also gave me a lot more comfort. So it was rewarding to see and feel and interact with the people that are going to grow this business face to face.
We touched on it previously, but we've got a couple more that are coming around repeat orders and customers. So, Laurent, I'm wondering, generally, what's our percentage of sales that are accounted for by repeat customers? And also, as an addendum to that, Italy. Can you give some color around the growth in the growth magnitude that our shareholders asked around the Italy order and how it compares to its original order a year ago?
So the Italy order is similar in size to the previous PO that we've received from them. In terms of repeat customers, in the US, because it's e-commerce, it's very easy to measure. And I can tell you that 55% of our sales are accounted for by repeated customers. Which is a very nice number. It's more than we're seeing with other brands in the industry. And I think this comes to show that the customers that we are acquiring are quite loyal and are staying with us. This also something that reflects in the higher lifetime value that we're seeing from our customers as opposed to some of the other brands in the category.
Another one based around product. The newly relaunched kids protein line seems to be drawing interest from both Kroger and UNFI. Are initial sales reflecting this, and what else are you hearing in the market about that product?
Yeah, so the kids protein product is proving to be interesting for retailers because it's more of a mass market product. So we are getting a lot of interest on that product and the sales are growing rapidly. Not sure if there's anything else to add on that.
Share price performance. One shareholder is saying it has been a little bit disappointing with the recent sell-off of growth companies. What are your views on when you believe there could be a re-rate in the share price and from what activity?
Dave, do you want to take this one?
I'll take that one. At the end of the day, I think the sell-off is certainly market-led rather than our performance-led. We know that performance is the key indicator, and that will keep people very much focused on our share price. What we'll do is keep focusing on our performance. We're very bullish about Q3 and Q4, and hopefully everyone understands that performance will be the key indicator. Apart from that, we're all disappointed with the micro cap market, mid cap market, and the whole ASX at the moment. So I don't think it's just us.
Yep, could be worse. It could be a tech stock.
Exactly.
We're nearly out of time. We've got time for one or two more. Back to the US this time, Laurent. In terms of the retail rollout, what do you see as the biggest channel in your channel strategy in the US? Sorry, biggest channel is going
challenge or channel. Sorry.
Oh, challenge to your channel strategy in the US.
Okay. So I think always the biggest challenge for any consumer brand is the brand visibility, is getting people to know about your product and picking it up from the shelf. I think every time that I'm seeing people select our products, I'm really humbled because there are so many other brands out there. But I think that what we have been able to build over the past 4 years that we've been selling in the US is we have built brand credibility, brand visibility. So people already know about our product. We have an existing customer base that we can speak to, as well as new customers that we already know which messaging resonate with. So I think one of the advantages that we have here is that we're not starting with retail. We have built a lot of insights and knowledge and brand awareness in the market over the past 4 years of being an e-commerce player. So now that we are going into retail, we are much more suitable, much more equipped to talk to our customers.
Thank you very much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out of time this afternoon, but thank you for spending half an hour with us. I'd like to thank Laurent and Dave also for giving us those insights into the company. if you do have more questions, by all means, email us at eric.curett@marketi.com.au. They're at the bottom of the ASX announcements that you can find under the ticker code NGS. But again, Laurent, Dave, thanks for joining us, and we'll hopefully talk to you all soon.
Great. Thank you for everyone's participation, and appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.